The first Forza title has hit the pavement on GeForce Now with brand new release, Forza Motorsport. This means you'll be able to race to the finish on just about any device, including your PC, laptop, Chromebook, and mobile device, for free. Granted, you have purchased a copy of the game on Steam, the Microsoft Store, or as a member of the Xbox Game Pass. Now the question is, how do things play and what should I expect from every tier of GeForce Now? Get ready to put the pedal to the metal as we travel through every GeForce Now tier, starting with the free tier. Now the free tier is obviously going to be the tier where most are going to be playing on the service. But will the free tier be worth your time? And can you win? Well, the free tier members might want to get buckled in because this might be a bumpy ride. First things first, you will need a Microsoft account to play the game on Steam and obviously on the Microsoft Store version. You will need to enter your Microsoft account for every time you log in, just for now though. They're working on this. Also, when you log in, you might get this alert. Just hit the ignore button. Apparently, Microsoft doesn't recognize any other cloud gaming hardware other than their own. Also, when you start the game, graphics shaders have to load. They generally only take about a minute or less. Now, the biggest problems you'll have with the free tier will be the queue times and, most importantly, the hour time session. Make sure you manage your races time-wise within your hour time limit, or you'll end up like this. Thankfully, your player save data is stored securely on Forza's online servers, and you shouldn't have to worry about cloud saves. But most free tier users are used to these kind of issues. The real issue on the free tier this time will be the game performance. Forza Motorsport has an in-game benchmark which will test to see how things run. The free tier generally runs the GTX 1060 configuration, and the graphics settings for me were set to low with a 720p resolution. Ouch! The benchmark results were even worse, with an average of under 30 FPS. Wow. Now even with these less than stellar results, was I able to race okay? Yes. Was I even able to win? Yes. Things just didn't look the best, so if you really need to play Forza Motorsport on the free tier, you can. I just don't recommend it, and I would try to skip the free tier for this game altogether, but that's just me. Now, does the priority tier help with this in any way? The priority tier solves a couple of things with your gameplay. The first, being able to bypass the queue. The second, priority members have a 6-hour gaming session instead of just an hour. Having a priority membership might just be worth it just for these two aspects alone. Now the real question is whether the priority tier will improve performance. The priority tier consists of two different configurations, the RTX 2080 and the RTX 3060 respectively. The RTX 2080 configuration is generally a bit more powerful and the benchmark shows that. It got closer to 60 FPS over the RTX 3060 benchmark respectfully. And in game, the 2080 configuration seemed to hit 60 FPS more often. But in the end, both of these configurations did a lot better hitting frames closer to 60 on average and at 1080p. So yeah, I would call this a pretty solid upgrade, even though things didn't play out perfectly. Will upgrading to Ultimate improve this even further? Forza Motorsport is a very demanding game. The game also just released, and we all know what state games have been in on release date. While Forza Motorsport does need some additional work to be put into it, it's not as bad as some other games that have launched recently. Starfield, excuse me. Now the Ultimate tier is designed to allow you to play the game at maximum efficiency, FPS, and quality at 1080p, 1440p, 4K, and ultra widescreen. Now, is this the ultimate experience for Forza Motorsport? Yes, but with an asterisk. Now, starting at 4K, the native settings put us at ultra settings. The benchmark said we were just above 50 FPS. This was kind of unacceptable for me. I want at least 60 FPS, and of course 120 is pretty much out of the question as an average, hence the asterisk. This is my recommendation. High settings with DLSS set to auto, and make sure you restart the game to apply these settings. I would also make sure to have the option to save the graphic settings set in the app settings. The benchmark now says we have over 70 FPS. Now you can turn ray tracing off, but I recommend it on because the benchmark is an extreme example. Most of the time, you won't be at night when it's raining with the lights blaring. I have seen my FPS hit triple digits in races with these settings. Now what I found weird was that 1440p and 1080p resolutions didn't get much higher frame rates, even with my recommended settings. Now playing this game on an ultra wide monitor is very worth it. I highly recommend it to see it who's coming up on you or watching those cars pass. Yes, the Ultimate tier is the best way to play the game. even though it might not hit super high frames on Ultra. Now be aware that there is a minimum GPU requirement to handle streaming at this rate. NVIDIA recommends a minimum of a GTX 10 series GPU or equivalent to handle decoding the stream. Make sure your device has a graphics processor equal or greater than this to get the best of what the Ultimate tier can offer. Ultimate can also be played on the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro and qualified mini PCs. I will put the links to these devices and the GPU requirements in the description. Don't forget to make sure that you have decent internet. I would have a minimum download speed of 50 megabits per second for priority members, and 100 megabits per second for the Ultimate tier for maximum bitrate streams, especially if you live with others using the internet. Forza might be the ultimate car racing franchise, but it does need the Ultimate tier to play the way it was meant to be played. Plus, more game updates should follow and improve the game's performance over time. If you like this overview of Forza Motorsport on all tiers of GeForce Now, give us a like. Also, make sure to join as a member of the channel or join our Patreon and Discord in the links below. And above all else, make sure to subscribe to keep it locked right here at the only place where you can do battle in gaming heaven, Cloud Gaming Battle.